of God came, that's the idea here in the first chapter. At sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. The prophets came and spoke unto the fathers, Abraham and even others on through. And then he talks about Jesus being the first begotten. He purged us of our sins. And it says that all the angels are to worship him. That's in verse 6. We're not angels. We are in the sense if we're messengers, but in God's created economy, we are men, not angels. We're a different class. And Jesus is a different class also. He's in a class all by himself. That's the point of this passage. And one of the great themes of the book, to be more narrow and more precise, is that men should not worship angels. Susan and I were talking about this last night, and I said, Susan, the book of Hebrews seems complex to people. I don't hear people talk about the book of Hebrews a lot. One of the reasons, I think, is if the theme of the book is that we are not to worship angels, but that we are to worship Christ, that is the theme of the book. How does that apply to you? Do you have a problem worshiping angels? If you don't have a problem worshiping angels and it never entered your head to do so, or you've never struggled against that like a man would struggle against a bad habit, why would the book of Hebrews be of interest if it's about worshiping angels and how you shouldn't do that? When people in the New Testament saw angels, they often fell down and worshiped them because they were such impressive looking creatures. And angels who were truly good angels would say what when that happened? Something like, get up. I'm not God. Genesis chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And the Hebrew text says, men of the shame. That means men of the name. Men of renown is a good way to translate if you like Old English. It means these were people of note. Men of note. Mighty men. Gabor, strong, physically powerful. Big men. And then it goes on to say these are giant men. Giantus. That means born of the earth. Sons of God, it is believed, are angels. Because sons of God are those things that are created directly by God. When you were born, you were a son of who? Or a daughter. When you were born, you were a son of, well, you took his name. Who were you a son of? Your father. I have friends that have names like McLaren, McGrew, McAndrews, MacArthur, McPherson. No fear in Pearson, he tells me. McPherson. McPherson. Well, that's the old way, like the Hebrews used to do, of saying son of Pherson. My dad's name is Pherson, son of Pherson. O'Hegan, there's another one, son of Hegan. And it says in the New Testament, your name is Simon Bar Jonas. Bar is Aramaic for son. Simon, son of Jonas. Van Buren in the Germanic languages, like Dutch. Van means from. It's a preposition. It's like son of. Van Buren, son of Buren. Son of God, son of Elohim. It's the Hebrew, Ben Elohim. B'nai Elohim, sons of God, plural, is a way of saying direct product of God. Just as you are a direct product of your Father. By the way, you're not a direct product of God when you're born in the flesh. And the Bible never says that. To make the point, again though, it does say in John chapter 3, verse 1, what kind of foreign love is this that we should be called sons of God. You see, because when you're born again, then you become a direct product of your Father who is God. So when it says in Jonah that the plant that came up and covered Jonah, the Hebrew text says it was a son of the night. What does that mean? It was a direct product of that night. It grew in that night and it got big in that night. And that's all over the Old Testament. Son of this and son of a day, son of a night. Phrase son of a gun. Well, son of a gun, there again, it's the direct product idea. It's an old nautical phrase from the English Navy, and when the men that were on board and couldn't get leave, their wives, they'd want to see their wives were allowed to come on board. And some of them, and the young men, and their wives were young, they were pregnant. And some of them would go into labor. And they were allowed to give birth between the guns on the gun deck. They separated that place out for the girls, and they'd go down there, and that's where they gave birth. And they were called sons of guns, the boys and girls that were born on the gun deck. Figure of speech, but the idea there is still the same. A direct product of something. They even said at times they'd try to hurry the birth so they would dry fire the cannon. It makes a lot of noise, and it would scare the children out of the women, they said. Something is the direct product, not the indirect product. Maybe one more biblical example. If you go to Luke, the genealogy of Christ is there, and it's taken from Jesus. Clear back. It's a long genealogy. Clear back to Adam. And at every step of every generation it says so-and-so was of, or a son of, it'd be translated so-and-so. But then it gets clear back to Adam, and it says of Adam, Adam was a son of God. A direct creation. So when it says here, sons of God, it's speaking of a direct creation of God. And also in the book of Job, if you remember, it says that Satan, listen to me close here, Satan, with the sons of God, same exact phrase used in Genesis 6, they came to show themselves before God. And who were those sons of God that showed themselves? Clearly from Job, they were Satan and his demons. So, right. So we have here sons of God coming.
Do you think these were demons there in Genesis 6 then?
Yes. I'm going to carry this out. We're talking about worship of angels. What are demons?
Aren't they angels that have gone bad?
They're angels. They're angels. Demons are angels. That are, it says in this text, it used the Hebrew word naphal, transliterated later in the Bible in the plural, Nephilim. The Nephilim, it says, were there in the land of Israel when the Hebrews came back. Well, the Nephilim are the giants. The Nephilim are those huge creatures, 10 feet tall and more. They had 6 fingers and 6 toes on their hands and their feet. There were giants in the earth in those days, it says here in the text. Well, the question is, who are these giants? They were men, it says, of renown. And they were the product of the sons of God copulating with the daughters of men. This is rather bizarre. Pardon?
Hope that doesn't happen today.